As I entered the classroom, I could feel everyone's eyes scanning me from head to toe, and I felt like an alien. Had I walked into New York Fashion Week, all the girls were so dressed up and fancy, and here I was in my farm girl overalls. The teacher asked me to introduce myself, and I pushed my hair back nervously. "Hi, my name is Jenny, and I just moved here from Texas." I could see a few kids snickering at my accent. A pretty blonde girl smiled at me and said, "Were you raised on a farm, Jenny? Were you friends with the cows and the horses?" "Yeah, actually I was. I really miss my pals already." When I saw more kids laughing, I realized they were just making fun of me. What was so funny about being friends with animals? Let's see how well you guys remember the last lesson. Who can give me the answer for this in 5 minutes? As everyone frantically scribbled away on their notebooks, I raised my hand after 30 seconds. "I have the answer, miss." Everyone suddenly turned to look at me. The two numbers are 14 and 5. The teacher looked stunned. "Well, that's quite remarkable. Can you please solve it on the board for everyone?" As I walked up to the front, I stopped for a second by the blonde girl's table. Just because I talk slow doesn't mean I'm stupid. "Hi, I'm Jenny, and I was born and raised on a farm in Texas. And this is the story of how I made the most popular, meanest girl in school beg me to love her." But before I continue, click like and subscribe. Later that day in the cafeteria, I walked around cluelessly with my lunch tray. People in the city seemed a lot more unfriendly than back home. I decided to go to the bathroom and eat alone when someone called out to me, "Hey Jenny, come join us." It was that girl from my class. I reluctantly walked over, and she introduced herself as Katie and her friend as Amanda. "I didn't mean to make fun of you, Jenny. I think you're absolutely adorbs, and you should hang out with us. We're the most popular girls in school. We'll help you fit right in." I was really surprised, but also uber grateful that someone wanted to be friends with me. So I started hanging out with them. And she wasn't lying when she said she was the most popular girl in school. Anything Katie wore or did became an instant fashion trend. One day, she came to school wearing a ridiculous hat, saying it was all the rage in Europe. And the next day, everyone was wearing the most abnormal hats I'd ever seen. Another time, she broke the heel of her shoe and was seen walking around the corridor wearing only one. And the next thing I knew, everyone was going around wearing only one shoe. These city people were so weird. Everyone was just nicer to me now that I was by Katie's side. I was getting invited to parties all the time, and I was always getting compliments on my wardrobe, picked out by Katie, of course. I was doing really well in my classes, too. In fact, the math teacher put me in the advanced class and urged me to join the Mathletes competition. It'll look so good on your college applications. But Katie was horrified when I told her. "Ew, that's social suicide, babe. And boys don't ask out nerds." That was sad news for me because I really had my heart set on one cute jock in our class, Alex. Every time he smiled at me, I had butterflies in my stomach, but I didn't want him to think I was some geek, so I didn't join the Mathletes. Besides, with my busy social life and tutoring Katie and Amanda after school, I really didn't have too much time. One afternoon, the two were over at my place and I'd gone downstairs to grab some snacks. When I came back, I heard them saying something that made me stop in my tracks. "Ugh, Katie, how long do we have to hang out with this loser?" "Shut up, Amanda. She's practically doing all of our math assignments right now. Do you want to fail math again? My dad will kill me if I do. We need the lame farm girl." Furious, I flung open the door to my room. I'd rather be a lame farm girl any day than a two-faced, backstabbing city witch. Get out of my room before I kick your skinny little butt. Jenny, come on. We were just kidding. Get out now. I took all the clothes and shoes she'd picked out for me and dumped them in a large garbage bag. I was so stupid for trying to fit in and being like her. Just then, I noticed that something was missing from my shelf. Oh, no, 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 no. Feeling panic, I looked for it everywhere. In my drawers, under my pillow, under the bed. I turned my whole room upside down and I couldn't find it. Oh my God, this was the worst thing that could have happened to me. Katie had stolen my diary. I was sweating bullets thinking about what she'd do with it. Just then, I got a message from her with a picture from my diary. I lost my heart to a city lad's smiles. Alex, your blue eyes are so divine. You look at me and give me butterflies, send me shooting straight to cloud 9. Let's meet tomorrow for lunch as usual. Shall we? This girl was pure evil. The next day when I met her and Amanda at lunch, I really wanted to throw my traitor smug face. Katie, I want my diary back. Babe, of course I'll give it back. You just have to do one little thing for me. I want you to steal the final math exam. My jaw dropped open. Are you crazy? I won't do that. Her face looked really menacing. Oh, yes, you will, if you don't want posters of your little love poem everywhere. There's only a week left, and I can't study for it. I need you to steal it tonight. Amanda will go with you. Of course, Katie. I'll just go steal the key from the principal's office from his secretary's desk, and we'll sneak into his office at night. Easy peasy. Seriously? This girl would jump off a bridge if Katie told her to. My stomach churned at the idea of breaking so many rules, but I really didn't have a choice if I didn't want to be utterly humiliated. That night, as we snuck into the school and headed to the principal's office, I felt absolutely terrified. But Amanda was in her element. She confidently unlocked the door and we crept in. She headed straight for the file cabinet and told me to hold up the torch while she looked for the paper. Just then, we heard some noise outside and we both froze. We heard footsteps coming closer. I instantly switched off the torchlight and dragged Amanda behind the big desk. As the door slowly creaked open, I closed my eyes and started praying to all the gods out there. This was it. I would be expelled. My parents would disown me. My life would be ruined. Whoever had opened the door suddenly closed it, and I let out a huge sigh of relief. And then we heard the lock click. Oh my God, I left the key in the door. It's probably that creepy janitor who lives here. What are we gonna do now? I completely lost it. Oh, we're just gonna have to wait till morning for the principal to find us here and expel us. And you know who gets to save her butt? Katie. Your best friend is a bully who doesn't care about you or anyone, Amanda. Friends don't get friends into trouble. That's not true. You're just jealous. Oh yeah? Then why didn't she come with us and sent you instead? I'll tell you why. She doesn't care about you. She doesn't care. Amanda stared at me silently for a moment. You're right. Katie really only does care about herself, and she's not even nice to me. I'm such an idiot. Listen to me, Amanda. We're not stealing anything. We have to figure a way out of here, and then we can deal with Katie together, okay? We tried opening the window, but it wouldn't budge. Suddenly, Amanda pulled at my hair. Ow! What was that for? Nothing. I just needed this hairpin. Why didn't you tell me you were wearing one? And with that, she marched towards the door and started tinkering with the lock. That stuff only works in movies. Just then, the lock clicked and the door opened. Amanda turned to me and grinned. Let's get out of here. The next morning, Katie was waiting for us at the bleachers for the math paper, and we certainly had one for her. You see, Amanda and I had spent the whole night making one up. I handed the exam to her and said, "Now can I have my diary back, please?" Not so fast. You're going to help me solve the paper and learn all the answers. You'll get the diary right after the exam. I'd kinda expected that, so it was time for me and Amanda to launch part 2 of our revenge program. She would follow Amanda secretly and find some dirt on her, and she would catch it on camera. I helped her prep for the exam all week, while Amanda hung out with her as usual, acting completely normal. One evening, Amanda turned up at my house looking super excited. I got it. I caught her on camera. I watched the video of Katie sneaking into an empty classroom, and minutes later, a boy showed up. I recognized him as Katie's boyfriend's best friend, and then the two of them started making out. Seriously, this girl was just the worst. On the day of the math exam, just before it was about to start, Katie winked at me. Wish me luck. Not that I need it. I grinned as I got the math paper and started working on it. Oh boy, this was gonna be so much fun. As soon as it ended and we all went out, Katie came charging towards me like a mad bull. She grabbed me by the arm and dragged me to an empty classroom. What did you do? I didn't know a single answer on the exam paper. Are you crazy? You made me fail the final. I'm going to completely ruin you. Not if we ruin you first. We turned around to see Amanda walk in. What are you talking about, stupid? This is your fault too. You couldn't even steal the right exam. Oh yes, I could. I just didn't. And this is what I'm talking about. and she thrust her phone in Katie's hands and played the video. Katie's eyes went wide in horror as she watched herself. Amanda quickly snatched the phone from her before she could smash it into a wall. "Give my diary back, Katie, or this video is going to be making all the social media rounds in no time, and everyone will know you're a cheater." Katie screamed in frustration and took the diary out of her bag and threw it at me. "Also, you just lost the only real friend you had. Being pretty or fashionable means nothing if you're a jerk on the inside. You're always going to end up alone." And with that, I put an arm through Amanda's and we walked out of the classroom. I decided I was done trying to be anyone but me. I joined the mathletes and actually won the competition for the school for the first time in years. And I'm friends with all the math nerds now. We're a pretty cool bunch. Oh, and on Valentine's Day, I wrote my lame love poem to Alex on a card and asked him out. We've been dating for 2 months now.
Hi, my name is Megan, and I'm from California. I was born to a very poor family, and my dad was a complete jerk. He ran away from home when I was just 2, and mom had to work as a maid in rich households to raise me. Once when I was 4, I fell really ill, and mom had no money to get me medicine. She asked all the rich people she worked for, but none of them helped her. I hear these excuses all the time. Do you even have a kid? Mom felt helpless and decided to steal money from them to save my life. I recovered fine, but mom was taken away by the cops, and now I had no one to take care of me. So I ended up in an orphanage. The caregiver there was a very mean, strict woman. She made us work like slaves and didn't even give us proper food to eat. Once when I was 8, I saw her shouting at one of the girls because she broke a stupid china doll while cleaning it. "How dare you touch such an expensive thing with your dirty hands? Who's going to pay for this now? Your dead parents?" The girl burst into tears, and I felt like banging the woman's head into the wall. Even worse, she sent the girl to her room without any dinner, but I saved half of mine and sneaked it up to her. "Here, you can eat this. I'm not really that hungry." Her name was Tina, and after that day, we became the bestest of friends. But then one day, when I was 12, Tina's hand got stung by a bee, and it swelled up like crazy. "We need to take her to the hospital." "Are you crazy? It's just a bee, not a dinosaur. She'll be fine." The caregiver refused to take her to the hospital and locked the 2 of us in the storeroom. This was it. I had to do something. I sneaked out through the window and locked the caregiver in her room. Meanwhile, Tina plucked the giant beehive from the tree nearby and threw it into her room through the window. "Open the door! Open the freaking door! There are bees in here! Someone save me!" After that, we freed all the girls from the orphanage and left that place for good. We spent hours running around the streets of California, but then we got really hungry. "Let's go to that restaurant." "But we don't have any money." "They don't know that." We went in and ordered everything on the menu. After we'd eaten up to our necks, it was time to run. Tina ran at the speed of a bullet, but I was left behind. I saw the nearest parked car in the parking lot and jumped right into its open door. "Easy there, kid. You're safe here." I looked up to see a handsome man dressed in really expensive clothes, and he was staring at me. I thought he'd kick me out of the car, but instead he asked me why I was running. I told him everything, and he looked kinda sad at first, but after a few minutes of silence, he said, "I can't change what you've been through, kid, but I surely can give you a better future. I'll adopt you." Oh my God, adopt me? This was insane. He took me to his home, and it was huge. So many fancy cars and hundreds of people working around. By the time we reached inside, his lawyer was already waiting with the adoption papers, and he just signed them off. Suddenly, my life took a 180-degree turn, and I became a princess overnight. The rich man got me the best clothes and the best education in the world. This was like a dream come true. But there was something missing from my life. Tina. I looked for her all over town, but she was nowhere to be found. One day when I was in the 8th grade, I went to this fancy restaurant with my friends when I suddenly heard a customer shouting at a waitress, "Are you freaking blind? You spilled coffee all over my white silk dress. I want to file a case against this moron." I rushed forward to help the poor waitress who was on her knees, begging for forgiveness. And to my shock, it was Tina. Oh my God, Tina? What are you doing here? Are you okay? I immediately picked her up and we hugged each other tight. The old lady kept yelling until I threw some cash in her face, but Tina, she looked so happy to see me. I took her home with me and she was awestruck to see my house. "This place is huge. My entire neighborhood could fit in here." I showed her around and told her everything, and we had a blast. Tina told me that she now lived with her new parents who adopted her soon after we left the orphanage, but they weren't well off, so she worked at a restaurant instead of going to school. I felt sad for her, but now she had me. I asked Dad to enroll her into the same school with me, and of course, he did. Tina and I became the bestest of buddies once again, and we had so much fun together, until one day in the 10th grade, Rihanna joined our school. Rihanna was a spoiled little witch who picked on other kids all the time, and now her new target was Tina. One day, Tina accidentally stepped on her shoe, and Rihanna went bonkers. "Oh my God, that's my new Prada, and it's worth more than your entire family, you lowlife." And saying that, she held up her hand to hit Tina, but I stopped her. "You better not touch her or you'll regret it." "How dare you mess with me? Do you know who I am? Do I look like someone who cares?" She looked at me with blazing eyes and jumped on me like a wildcat. Just then, some kids came in and pulled us apart, but the fight wasn't over. I was so gonna teach her a lesson for this. The next couple of days, Tina didn't come to school and wasn't even replying to my messages. I got really worried about her. Later that evening, I went over to her place to see what was wrong. It turned out her dad was fired from the office and now he was severely ill. I felt so bad for Tina. I had to do something. I asked Dad to help her, and he gave Tina's dad an awesome job in his company. A few days later, all the kids from my class were having a pool party, and I asked Tina to come with me. But only a few minutes into the party, Tina was talking to a boy when Rihanna marched up to her and pulled her hair. "Get away from my boyfriend, you witch." "Your what? He was the one trying to flirt with me." Yeah, I know girls like you. You're just after rich boys for their money. What are you even doing here at this party? Don't you know it's for rich kids? I brought her with me, so buzz off. Of course you did. There's no way anyone would let a maid like her into this place without you, Megan. Rihanna, watch your mouth. Oh, but it's true, isn't it? Her dad works for your dad. Doesn't that make her your servant's daughter? That was enough. I picked up a glass of juice and threw it in her face. She ran towards me, but I just moved aside and she fell right into the pool. She came out gasping and screaming. "I'm gonna kill you, Megan! And you, Tina! You don't have anything that I might envy for you, except that face. Gosh, that face is too pretty for someone like you. I'll make sure you pay for it as well." I grabbed Tina's hand and left the party. On our way back home, she looked super sad, but I cheered her up with a bit of some ice cream. The next day when I went to school, I opened my locker and a large sealed envelope fell out. When I opened it, I was shocked. It was the question paper for the upcoming math exam. Suddenly, Rihanna turned up out of nowhere and snatched the paper from me. "What are you staring at?" "Oh my God, Megan, you're a cheater." "What? No, I don't know how this..." Before I could finish, Rihanna was off to the principal's office with the paper, and I was called in minutes later. The principal looked like she was gonna eat me alive. "Ma'am, I swear, I didn't do it." "Then what about this question paper in my hand? Did it fly to your locker on its own?" "No, I don't know. I didn't do any of this. Please, you have to believe me." But she didn't listen to me, and I was suspended for 2 weeks. When I stepped out of her office, I saw Rihanna running away with an evil grin. It was definitely her. I felt so terrible that I almost burst into tears as I told Tina everything, and she hugged me. "It's gonna be fine. I know you didn't do it, Megan. I believe you. We'll find some way to prove it." She took me home and tried everything to make me happy, but I was feeling miserable. The next evening, while I was sulking in my room, I received a text message from Tina. "Rihanna and her friends have locked me up in the janitor's closet. Please come and get me out of here." I immediately rushed to the school and freed Tina. She hugged me as soon as she saw me. "Oh, Megan, thank God you're here. Are you okay? That witch Rihanna is really out of control. We're not letting her get away with this." Just as Tina and I were running down the hallway, we suddenly heard a loud blast. We were shocked to see a giant fire break out in the math teacher's office. I immediately called the fire department and both of us rushed out of there. The next day, I received a call from the principal's office. I didn't know what it was about, but I was really surprised to see Tina there too. And then I got the shock of my life. You are being expelled for trying to set the school on fire, Tina. And you too, Megan. What? We didn't set the fire. Stop lying through your teeth, Megan. You were on campus yesterday. You've been caught on camera. I only came to rescue Tina, who'd been locked up by Rihanna in the janitor's closet. If anyone started the fire, it's that psycho. And it looks like she set us up. Then how do you explain this? The principal then showed us the camera footage, and it clearly showed Tina starting a fire in the teacher's office. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was speechless. I grabbed Tina's hand and dragged her out of the office. Tina, are you insane? Why did you do that? And suddenly, Tina looked up at me with pure hatred. To ruin you, of course. I hate this school anyway. I don't care if I'm expelled, but seeing you destroyed is totally worth it. What are you saying? Why would you want to ruin me? You're my best friend. No, I'm not your best friend. I'm just your sidekick, the rich girl's maid. You're this perfect Cinderella girl who went from rags to riches, but me, I got adopted by a poor old couple who couldn't even feed me properly. But I did everything I could for you. Yeah, I'm just your charity case, and I hate it. You're not any better than me, so why did you end up with the better life? I decided to take it all from you. I put the question paper in your locker, and I locked myself in the janitor's closet to frame you for the fire. I couldn't believe my ears. She hated me so much while I loved her the most in the world. I bet no college will want you now. And imagine all the shame you'll bring to your dad. He'll really regret adopting you.
I don't feel any regret or shame because of my daughter. It's you who's wrong.
What? Dad? I turned around to see Dad and Tina's parents standing behind us. They were called in by the principal too, and they looked like they'd seen a ghost.
Is that what you think of us, Tina? After all the love we gave you?
Love? Love isn't everything. I need a better life, money, luxuries, everything this witch has.
That's enough. I'm sending you to juvenile prison for framing my daughter and trying to burn the school down. You need to learn a lesson, kid.
Dad, no. I don't want her to go to prison. I can't believe she did all that, but I've loved her since we were kids. Oh, shut up. Who asked you? I don't need your pity, and I certainly don't need it now. And with that, she stormed off and even left her parents, and I never saw her again. My name was cleared, and after some time, I went back to enjoying my life and studying hard. But now, I'm really careful when it comes to choosing friends.